morning, garden friends. I'm up before the sun is up over the trees in the east here so that I can show you a few updates on various gardens before the sun comes up and just makes it very blindingly bright and you can't see the detail. So today I thought I would show you the herb garden, which I haven't shown you yet this season, at least not in its completed stage. And then there's a couple of things in the shade garden and behind the house in the barn and kitchen view gardens that I wanted to show you that are looking really nice right now. So let's take a little poke around and see what's going on. The main reason I haven't shown you the herb garden recently is because we've had a little construction going on here at the house. We had our screened-in porch remodeled. There's still some work to do and some painting, obviously. It's a different color than the house. But it's mostly done. And so I can actually show you stuff without various construction equipment lying around or saws going off. That was really the primary problem, is I couldn't get in here to film because my contractor was on the deck here working on this part of the project. So that's done for now, so we can take a walk around and see what's going on. Here's the entrance to the herb garden, and flanked on both sides of the path, flanking both sides of the path. It's early in the morning. I haven't had tea yet, so I'm mumbling a little bit. These are the two pink daylilies. They're salmony pink, beautiful daylilies. Came with the property. Were very sentimental for the previous owner, so I kept them, and they're actually going to need to be divided, I think, maybe in the fall. They're getting pretty big, but they'll be blooming soon. On this side of the garden, this is Sage Corner, and actually the oregano and marjoram are already kind of out of control. But in this corner we have all the different sages. Plain green common sage, and then we've got tricolor sage, purple sage, and the yellow variegated sage. And it smells so wonderful in here when I walk through. A big hedge of phenomenal lavender, some more sage. And here is pineapple sage. I bought 2 plants this year to put in here. If you've never grown pineapple sage, and I say this, I've said this multiple times, if you've never grown pineapple sage, get yourself some. It smells so good. In amongst the sage is dill that has self-sown for years in this garden, and I just let it grow up wherever it self-sows. So it is sprinkled throughout this garden in various spots, and I let it grow. The swallowtail caterpillars come in and munch on some of it, but I still have plenty to use. The one pot that I decided I'm going to plant this year, and I'll talk more about that in another video, is here, and I decided to go with a theme of sort of silver, orange, and purple, and I think it's actually working out really well. So let me show you what I've got in here. I tucked the tags in the back here. Is that going to focus? I don't know if that's going to focus. There we go. So I've got purple fountain grass. Oops, let's see if I can. And then a sweet potato vine called Black Coffee. Oops. And then the Euphorbia Diamond Snow, followed by Dreamsicle, Super Bells, and the licorice plant, white licorice. And then in the middle I threw in some Bright Lights Coreopsis, which have these really interesting orange blooms. which I think set off the dreamsicle super bells pretty well. Now these bright lights, Coreopsis, aren't all orange. There's some yellow, so not quite a solid color theme, but they're still pretty nonetheless. And as the sweet potato vine grows and cascades over the sides with the licorice plant, I really love this combination this year. Down in this little pot here I have an agapanthus that I thought I'd try to grow this year. They're not hardy here, so this will have to stay in a pot and come in when the weather gets cold. If we come around here, the oregano is just going a little nuts. I did cut this back, believe it or not. I chopped big chunks of it out, and it just kind of goes crazy. But I let it, because once it flowers, the bees go nuts for this. As you can see, there's a dill here that grew up in amongst it. I have some golden oregano, and then 2 big clumps of marjoram, which are also kind of out of control. But again, once they flower, the bees just love it. So I hate cutting it back, because I know the bees will really love it. Some variegated oregano. And you can see there's still some sawdust on the sage leaves from the construction. I tried to wash it off, and it'll eventually go away. But yeah, it's a little bit of construction dust. And then rosemary, who is sitting out here in this corner this year. She moves around every year, but this year I decided to stick her in this corner, and she's doing well. She's actually flowering. Rosemary flowers. Alright, I'm going to turn to the center portion. Let me just actually walk this way so I can get a better angle. So in the center, I usually plant different types of basil. I just love the look of the different foliage textures and colors. So I have the traditional green basil. This, I believe, is Nufar. It's a mildew-resistant basil from Johnny's. And I've got that on this side of the garden, and then on the far side, the green basil here is just Genovese basil. Big leaf basil. And then in between, I've got purple basil. This one, I believe, is red robin. I'll check and confirm that for sure. And then in between those, I've got Thai basil. And I've talked about this before, but I love this combination. This Thai basil has purple stems with green leaves, and then we'll eventually have purple flowers. I just pinch these back pretty hard. Actually, here's a bud. So they have these little purple flowers. And so the Thai basil ties in the 2 other basils, the purple basil and the green leaf basil. I just love that combination. And then up front here, I have cinnamon basil, which has similar coloring to the Thai basil, just a little bit paler. So not quite as deep purple, but an interesting smell too. Interspersed among all these basils are the bronze fennel. Lots of bronze fennel. And you can kind of pick up a theme here, sort of a purpley, smoky purple theme that once all these grow together, you'll really be able to see. In the middle, I've got some purple hyacinth beans. Again, that green and smoky purple color together. And the bean pods are brilliant purple, beautiful. And then they'll clamber up this tower here. That should be interesting. And on either side, I've got some lemongrass, which I put in this bed because it gives the lemongrass enough room to sort of spread. Stand back here. All right, so that's the center bed. And then if we walk around the perimeter bed, this is the mint patch. There's 4 different types of mint in here, and I just let it grow. I know mint can be invasive, but I've never really had a problem here. I just pull out any runners that come forward, which aren't many, and it just kind of stays here, which is odd. And then I have a big patch of parsley. It's just starting to get going here. So curly parsley and flat leaf parsley. So plenty of parsley. And again, the dill growing up in random spots. I've got a couple of borage plants, some nasturtiums, and lots of thyme. Then we get into the lemon corner of the garden here. I have some lemon verbena, lots of lemon balm. There's lemon thyme tucked in there, and then here's lemon basil. So lots of different types of basil as well. And then big clumps of catnip for my cats. This one is just out of control. It's got to be 3 feet tall. I'll go around the front here. Tucked in around this herb garden, I've got some calendula plants. I'll show you some more over at this end. Here the onion chives are just going over. The flowers are just going to seed, so I'll have to pull those pretty soon. But here's some calendula. Pretty flowers about to open. The garlic chives. And then along the front here I have various thymes. German winter thyme, summer thyme, lemon thyme, all kinds of thymes. Oh, and an orange balm, which I've never grown before. And then self-sowing all over the front of this are portulacas, annual flowers that are brightly colored and just self-sow all along the front edge here. I'll dig up some of these and transplant them to other areas that don't have any, like further down here, but eventually there'll be a nice border of really pretty bright flowers along the driveway edge. Alright, so that is the herb garden in early June. In another month or so this will have grown up quite a bit and filled in. So actually this porch project is one of 2 projects we plan to do in this area. This we are going to do this year, this porch, screened-in porch renovation. And then we're thinking next year or soon, haven't really worked out the budget yet, we're going to get rid of this deck and redo the windows here. I've hated this deck since the day we bought this house. It's just not useful for us. It's in hot blazing sun and we've never used it. So I think we're going to take it out and redo the staircase into the porch, redo the windows here, and that is going to open up some extra ground in this section of the garden. So that's going to require kind of a redo of this whole section of the garden and probably the pathway. But that's for a future date to be determined. For now, I will work with the space that I have and enjoy it as best I can. All right, let's move on from the herb garden, walk across the lawn here into the shade garden. We'll stop at the front door and the lavender ring here, which is just coming into flower. Isn't that beautiful? Lavender's doing pretty well here, needs some weeding, but looking pretty good. All right, over to the shade garden, and this Aurelia is just insane. Look at that. I love it. So things here in the shade garden are really starting to fill out. The woodland tobacco is taking off, which is great. I stuffed in some coleus. These have been pinched back really hard, so they don't look like much right now, but they will eventually. And there's different varieties of leaf pattern. There's this beautiful deep purple. So I've got them all over this garden as filler. Excuse me. And once they really start to grow, it'll offer a lot of interesting foliage colors. So boxwoods are settling in. Having to keep these watered quite a bit this year already. We're having a dry summer, and that's not good. The foxgloves have really taken off. These are self-sown foxgloves that just randomly seed themselves around the garden, and I let them. And yeah, they're looking beautiful right now. The bumblebees have been in these and really love them. And in this low light in the morning, you can really see them. The colors just jump out at you. The surviving hostas are actually looking really good. Let me come around the pathway here into the seating area, which we haven't put our furniture out yet, believe it or not. The geraniums are starting to bloom. This is geranium sanguineum, I believe. And we've got a lot of that all around the property. Look at these foxgloves. They're just so pretty. I know I've told the story of these before, but I found them on the edge of our road coming into the property one year after the town had done some work on the road and put a whole bunch of new material on the road. And they just popped up along the side of the road. So I dug some up and put them in here. And they've been in here ever since. Probably 4 or 5 years now, I think. More pretty hostas. Despite all the vole damage, there are some hostas that didn't get damaged and are looking great. I love these. Ooh. Some Jacob's ladder starting to blossom, and the bees, bumbles, are enjoying it. Some brunnera, and here are some more of the coleus seedlings. And again, these have been pinched back pretty hard, so they're looking pretty small right now, but they will catch up soon. Solomon seal. This is miniature Solomon seal. And then we have the larger Solomon seal. And the flowers are all starting to go over. Some more foxgloves popping up on the hill here. I love it. And then some more coleus and hostas. Here's a maidenhair fern. The shade garden really does start to look very lush in summer with all the different foliage types. There's the Hakanakloa, some more variegated Solomon seal, which I love. This is one of my favorite plants. Not only the leaves, but the stems are red. It's just a really beautiful plant. Here I have another variety of coleus that I grew from seed. The first variety that I've been showing you so far is Pinto Mix, so a mix of different colors. This one, something chocolate, or chocolate something. I'll put it up on the screen. I also grew this from seed, and it's just adorable. So I've got a bunch of these on this side of the garden, of this variety. And here in the wood chip area, seating area, Got a whole pile of baby lady's mantle seedlings that have popped up. So eventually I'll dig these out, pot them up, and move them around the garden. But they came from this lady's mantle patch here. Variegated ajuga just going crazy out into the pathway. I will dig some of this up and spread it elsewhere. It's just so pretty. Alright, so coming around the corner from the propane tanks, here is the Annabelle hydrangea that got divided. It's actually looking pretty nice, and it has flowers on the top this year, so we'll get some blooms this year, despite it being chopped up and moved around. Some more Solomon seal and ferns. That completes the shade garden. It's just looking really pretty this time of year. And up above, still more hostas, and some astilbe getting ready to bloom, and more foxgloves. Foxgloves are really in great form this year. And we'll go up there and see some of that up close. You can tell it's still pollen season. I'm still clearing my throat. So here we are in front of the patio. This bed here, this is the lone surviving Boom Chocolata geranium, blooming. Looks lovely. It's interesting, the other one on the other side of this little bed, this little patio edge bed, didn't survive. Same soil, same conditions, not sure why. As you can see, the lady's mantle is going a little nuts here, huh? So you could tell I didn't edit this garden before I decided to film, because I haven't cut back this Macrophylla hydrangea yet. Still has the dead twigs on it. This is Everlasting Green Cloud, and it did come back. I'm actually kind of surprised. Macrophyllas, I'm realizing, are fairly difficult here. They get killed back quite a bit, so often you only have a few bits and pieces that sprout up in spring, and they look pretty rough. So I'm gonna not really grow any more of these. I think this is this one, and I've got one up above that I think are going to be it for the macrophyllas. And I'm going to focus mainly on the smooth hydrangeas, the paniculatas, and the mountain hydrangeas, which do so much better than the macrophyllas. But this one's not doing too badly. And once I cut back all these sticks, it actually won't look too bad at all. The lady's mantle in this bed is looking really good. I added some more this season, some more seedlings, so these will have to catch up to the rest of them, but they're actually looking pretty good this year. Almost as big as the shrubs back here. Here is I think this is Princess Spirea. I'll put the name on the screen. Getting ready to bloom. And a little holly here, Japanese holly. The autumn sunrise, autumn something. Hang on. Yeah, I was completely wrong on that. Midnight Sun Wigelia. Just finishing up blooming. And then my Monet Wigelia tucked in here. That one hasn't bloomed yet this year. I grew some Langsdorff flowering tobacco, Negotiana, and tucked that in here just for fun. Not sure I'll grow it again, but thought it was a nice complement to the acid yellow of the lady's mantle and helped fill in the blank spaces. Also growing in here, which are not blooming yet, are these peacock orchids. They're a member of the gladiola family. My dad used to grow them when I was growing up in our gardens. And so I saw bulbs for sale, I grabbed some, and I just tucked them in here. They will eventually have bright white blooms with purple throats, and they're gorgeous. So yeah, step back here. This is what I consider the kitchen view garden. I can see this from the kitchen. So it's looking really nice this time of year. The daylilies are growing up into a big hedge. There'll be multicolored daylilies coming up in probably in a few weeks. All right, let's go up the stairs here. This is the pollinator garden that is under construction. It's been so hot lately. I haven't done much in the last few weeks, but you can see I'm clearing the garden completely down to the soil because we have that runner grass, whether it's Johnson grass or quack grass, I'm not quite sure. We've got invasive creeping bellflower and a bunch of other invasive stuff in here that needs to be sifted out and the good stuff pulled out, which I'm starting to do here, and rearranged. So that will be future videos later on in the season as that progresses. This ramshackle staircase up through the garden is right now framed by this massive nepeta hedge on both sides. This just went nuts this year, and I love it. And the bees do too. The flowers are just starting to go over, so in another week or two I will probably hack this back once the flowers deteriorate more, and then hopefully we'll get a second bloom. But what I really wanted to show you up here are these peonies. A bunch of different peonies, and they're starting to go over, so I didn't want to miss them. Up here on the upper beds, look at these beautiful peonies. I don't know what variety these are. They came with the property, and I've been moving them around for a couple of years now, trying to figure out where they belong. And I think they're doing well here. In amongst these upper beds, I've got drumstick alliums coming up, and they will be blooming soon. There's another one down here. The camera will focus on that. About to open. Yeah, these hydrangeas are looking really good right now. Down here. And I love the bright, bright pink against the purple of the nepeta. Just a lovely combination. The fire and ice hydrangeas are budding up here and will be blooming soon. Love it. And this bed here that I added a whole bunch of shrubs to, starting to fill in. And I threw in some more Langsdorff tobacco up here just to fill in the space until these shrubs start to expand more and cover more ground. All right. Let me turn around and go back out. Actually walking on the bed, which I probably shouldn't be doing. See if I can get out without tripping. There we go. Whoop. All right, this nepeta is just crazy. Walk up through, you can hear bees buzzing. We'll come up here to the barn. We'll reorient you. Step back. So the boxwoods are looking really nice. Boxwood hedge. I haven't done a lot of work on this pathway. The ultimate goal is to finish all the stone work. But now in the middle of growing season, I need to be focusing on plants and not rocks. So that will have to wait until cooler weather. The other thing I wanted to show you before the sun comes out and really washes this whole bed out are these peonies in this upper bed, these white, pink-white peonies. They're about to go over, as you can see. The petals are already dropping. aren't these pretty? The outer petals have a very pale pink color to them, and then inside white petals, and then these pink stamens in the center. Oh, look at that. They're falling apart already. I've been watching these bloom and saying I needed to get up here and show you guys these before they go over, but as you can see, they're really starting to go over already. These are what we call Becker's peonies. I don't know the variety. We found these on an old homestead, an old farm that was going to be demolished to be divided for housing, and went in and rescued them. So they're here in this barn slope garden, this upper barn slope garden here. I added to this garden some white cosmos, this cupcake white, and then some more flowering tobacco. This is jasmine scented tobacco, which is looking a little rough right now, but hopefully it'll perk up with some additional water and fertilizer. So I scattered the white cosmos throughout this bed to sort of echo the peonies and pick up on the white garden theme that I think I'm developing for this corner. Along the edge here, I had 3 Caryopteris beyond midnight. Bluebeard is the common name, and realized that they didn't really fit with this bed. Most of the flowers on the trees and the shrubs are white. And once I decided that I probably wanted to go with a white theme, a white garden theme, the Caryopteris had to go. So I replaced them with this Limelight potentilla, which has these white flowers with yellow centers. And so there are 3 of them. And just realizing that this one is looking a little different. It was labeled as Limelight, but definitely is different. Oh well. Anyway, so these will have really pretty white flowers in summer, and once they settle in and start to grow, will look really nice here, I think. Further up toward the barn and this arbor here, I added a clematis. It's called Miss Bateman. I'll pop a picture up here on the screen. It was in full bloom when I bought it and planted it, but obviously it's gone over, and it has these really cool seed heads. Hopefully this will climb up and over the arbor here, and eventually when I expand the garden this way, we'll put something on this corner of the arbor, and the 2 will meet in the middle. You can see a ladder there under the barn shed row. Been working on the barn painting project. I'll show you that in a little while. So yeah, here's the barn slope garden, and then swinging into the kitchen view, looking down on our kitchen. Everything's really starting to fill in, and it's looking really good. Here's another one of these peony blooms. Look at that. I wish I knew the variety name. If anybody has any ideas on what variety this might be, I'd love to hear it. Ooh, starting to fall apart in my hand. Ooh, Susie's decided to join us. Where'd you come from, sweetie? Say hi. No, she's focused on something. All right. Take a little walk down here. A lot of shrubs starting to really fill in. I love it. Our sky pencil holly here. And then the Mount Airy Fothergilla. And then in the middle, in between all these shrubs, the fire and ice hydrangeas, here's a big patch of Paradiso tall mix, echinaceas, Rudbeckias. I'll put that up on the screen. They're getting ready to flower, so that should be nice. Go. And these will have different colored blooms. You can see this one's going to be a lighter color than the one behind it. So it'll be interesting to see what colors come up. I've got some coreopsis back here. I don't know the variety. This came with the property, but it'll have pretty yellow flowers soon. And then the, oh, what is this one? This one is the yellow prairie coneflower. Here we go. And I'm still on the fence about whether I leave this here or not, but for now it's staying. It'll have pretty little yellow flowers. Here's the northern bush honeysuckle, looking really nice and getting ready to bloom. Some pretty yellow flowers here as well. Some more geranium sanguineum. The sun's starting to come out, so we're going to get some glare on these shrubs. You can see the daffodil foliage is still up. And that hopefully will be dying back soon, because it kind of makes the bed look a little bit cluttered. Our fire chief arborvitae. And here is the newly transplanted Annabelle chunks. And a lot of them have taken, some of them haven't. But the goal here is to have a big hedge of Annabelle right on the corner of the barn with the North Pole arborvitae. And below here, some calamintha. Let's see if I can get the name up on the screen for you, but it will bloom white. It's actually re-blooming. It's bloomed once already, and I didn't even cut it back, and it's re-blooming. So this will hopefully fill in all along the bottom here, along the wall, with pretty white blooms. Swing back over here. More foxgloves. Beautiful foxgloves. This upper part of the border here is starting to look really, really nice. Some geranium macrorrhizum, which is looking a little bit stressed, probably from the drought. It's been very dry. So I'll have to dig that up and put that probably in a less sunny spot with more water. Here's the other Macrophylla hydrangea, whose name is escaping me at the moment. Let's see if I can find the tag here. It is, oh, this is the Endless Summer. Which one is it? Twist and Shout. Endless Summer Twist and Shout. I did trim that one back, and it's actually not looking too bad. Some ajuga. The Japanese anemones are coming back really strongly, along with the carex. There's the Solomon seal and more foxgloves in the morning sun. Aren't these beautiful? Now I haven't seen whites for a while since I planted these. So it's nice to see the white foxgloves coming back instead of just all pink. Got some more astilbes in here getting ready to bloom. Lady's mantle, and then the Actea or Simicifuga, hillside black beauty coming up. Hopefully that'll be blooming soon. So the shade garden is really, really starting to come together. Now I'm going to be doing some work this week on this barn slope, the rest of the barn slope garden. So I'm not going to show you that this morning. until I get the additional shrubs in, and then we'll take a full tour of that as well. Instead, we'll just take a little walk down the hill. This goes steeply downhill, and the next big project after this year is to get rid of all this lawn here and convert this as well into a shade garden underneath the shade of this beautiful maple. And so the pathway will likely continue down along the edge of the garden here, down the hill. But for now we just have a slightly weedy rock border. Here we are directly under the maple, which is dry shade and very tough to grow things. We've got some hostas that were damaged by the voles, but are still growing, amazingly. But I plugged in some epimediums, and I've shown you these before, and some pulmonaria, and then there is some sweet woodruff that I transplanted in here that seems to be doing well. So hopefully these will spread and cover the ground underneath this tree. Some blue hostas that somehow managed to escape the vole bark. And then in place of the hostas that got completely eaten by the vole, I spread some ajuga that will hopefully form a nice carpet there. We're back around into the front of the shade garden with the geranium macarizum, some more of these really pretty coleus that will hopefully grow and fill the space in. I did buy this one bright yellow coleus. And more foxgloves. Back around to the foxgloves. Oh, the heucheras are blooming. Really nice. Alright, back around to the foxgloves. The antique plow here is almost buried in foxgloves at this point. Well, I think that's it for today's video. The sun has popped up over the trees and the black flies are out already. So it's time for me to go back in and get some breakfast before I start my day. I did just want to give you a quick update on the herb garden and some of the highlights in the shade garden and the kitchen view gardens. Thank you for joining me. I do appreciate that you're here, and do come back again next time. We'll see you later. Bye.